we only have 6 weeks left of the Venator update. Hopefully I can get it complete on time for the UCS Venator that LEGO is releasing on October 1st. Hey guys, we're on the final 6 weeks of the series hopefully, and I'm super worried about getting this thing done on time, especially with college classes starting up again. And so many things have happened to me this week that have delayed this project a ton, and I'm very concerned that we will not be getting it done on the October 1st deadline. Although I'm trying my best, working hard every day, trying to build this thing. But with college coming up in the next coming weeks, I am concerned it won't be done on time for October 1st. So let's get into this update without further ado, and let's get in that grind right now. Starting off this week on the Venator series, we're going to be working on this panel right here some more, finishing this up and making it look good. And then we're going to start inserting things to make this final side panel, because we have 1, 2, 3, and then there's the 4th layer. So we're going to be working on that 4th layer today. Hopefully we can get that done along with, finishing up this section, modifying it to how we need it to be so that it is proper for the Venator. And then once we build up this side and get that done, we'll start working on the other side of this gun enchantment plays and the side of this. So let's get into that starting right now. So I made a huge mistake, guys. I had to redo parts of this panel again. I put that brick in the wrong spot, which really sucks because now I gotta redo this whole section, which I've already built like 3 times today, and now I gotta rebuild that again. But overall progress is pretty good, not gonna lie. But still, besides that it just really sucks because there's like so much that goes into this. Like there's a whole thing underneath here that like supports this because they're all snap techniques, and it's just very complicated. Now, as you guys can see, there are holes right here for a reason. That's because I'm going to attach something onto here so I can get that angle perfect and fill it in perfectly. But still, that one brick being off a little bit really just sucks because now I gotta redo this again. Alright, we made some pretty good progress. We got this thing built on now. We got this trench going, and it seems to be pretty tight along the 2 gaps. So I'm pretty happy with the progress we made on this so far. However, we still have a lot of work to get done, such as the bridge. I realized we do have an issue last week that this doesn't line up perfectly with that. So what I'm going to be doing is actually installing one of these bricks right here and then a bunch of plates that go kind of along the side right here just to give it a little extra inch of space that needs to line up with the top of that pillar, because it's off by just about like the width of this. So I gotta insert that somehow, probably using some snap techniques or something like that, because it's gonna be kind of complicated to do. But I'm gonna be working on that right now so that the towers are straight on this thing instead of like leaning to one side. And then finally, we shall work on building this big panel right in front of it, which I've been dying to do for ages. Alright, so we got these 1x8s installed. It was actually kind of tricky. I've actually rebuilt this 1,000 times, and it's still not perfect because every single time I shift this, I have to move these bricks up a bit, and that causes so many problems. So it's not perfect, but I know it works. So with that said, now I'm going. Oh my goodness, it's literally falling apart. Let me cut this real quick. But now that we figured that out, now it's time to move on to our next problem, which is this section right here. So for this section, I've thought of many ideas. I've thought of doing something like this, where we have these slopes kind of match with these slopes, and it just goes up all the way. But I gotta make sure these angles are accurate. And I also have to modify this piece because why? These do not connect. Look at that. Like, they just don't. Because you got the back side of a brick over here, and then you got the front side of a brick going upwards. And there's no brick that really works for that kind of connection. So I have to figure that out. On top of that, I have to figure out this angle too. Because you see this slope right here? That's supposed to be the same as this slope. So which means this slope right here is wrong, which means I have to rebuild that again. And I gotta figure out a way to invert this piece, which isn't possible because that piece just doesn't exist in Lego form. Like an inverted version of this does not exist. So that is also a big problem that I have to try and figure out. But that's what I'm going to be working on right now. Alright guys, we've made some great progress over here. We got this all built up now, and we have these slopes lining up perfectly. There's very little gappage between this tower and this big assembly right here, which I'm very happy about. I was really worried about that when building it, but we did a pretty good job of getting rid of that. On the back side, not as much, but it is what it is. Now, this thing currently right now, just want to show you guys, is not attached. It's literally, was just held together by nothing but gravity, and I gotta figure that out still. But we also were able to light this thing up. So there's an LED light strip, one of these in particular, right here inside this massive column of lights. And this is made possible thanks to my sponsors, Lightarium Bricks Max, which you can buy amazing lights for your MOCs, you know, Lego City, Lego Star Wars sets, etc. for your collection. I totally support them 100%. I think they're a great company to use, and they are sponsoring all the lights on this Venator project. So huge shout out to them. If you want to save 10% on their light kits they have in their store, use code ROLLBRICKS, you save 10%. So totally go check them out down below. The link is in the pinned comments. But I'm super glad this came out super nice. I mean, it came out way better than I thought it was going to come out, and I'm just happy I'm able to light it up. So now that we got that complete, I'm going to work on a way to kind of like attach it and then also finish up this right here, because we still have to figure out how we're going to attach these bricks right here to this thing right here, which is going to be a very complex process because I have no clue how to even begin to go about doing this. And we also still have to fix up this section, and you know, there's a lot to still do. So we're going to keep working on this, and hopefully we can get it done this update. Alright, after several hours on end of building, I think I found somewhat of an effective strategy of how I'm going to make this column work somehow. So I've been testing around for hours with Snot and trying to see how I'm going to get these angles to line up with this angle, and I think I came up with a pretty good solution. It seems a little bit tight in some places, and I couldn't figure out how to get that one stud covered up exactly, but I mean, I think it came out pretty nice. I spent several hours on this, guys, so I think this is a good enough effective strategy for filling in the gaps in between it. If you guys know about Snot and want to design something that's actually going to work for this, please let me know, because this is a very hard thing to do. I spent probably about 3 hours trying to design something that works like this. I've gone through so many different design changes and everything like that just to get this tiny section complete, and so many things along the lines of that. But that is currently how I think this is going to look in the end product. Now it's time to build that on the other side. Alright, so I thought I made some really good progress. I did complete the other side right here, as you guys can see. It's perfect. However, I did realize as I was doing this, you can ever so slightly see that this one is being pushed forward, which is causing all the other nice Snot work I did to be incorrect. So that has to do with something up here, which means I have to fix this connection up here on both sides, which is a very complicated thing to do. So that's what we work on right now. Alright, taking a look, we've made some great progress. We have inserted a whole new system in this particular section to make this all work, and it works smoothly now. There's nothing being bent or anything like that. We still do have to incorporate on the other side, but we'll get to that later. And it really does look great. I'm super happy with the progress we have made on this section in particularly, and then we rebuilt this whole entire thing once again up from the ground, and I think it looks great. We also added some support beams going into this design, so we'll be able to connect to this tower over here whenever we do get to building that up, hopefully later this week in the update. And then we also are working on beginning to connect this section right here with this section, and then to this back section right here. They're all going to line up perfectly. So this bridge is really starting to take shape, along with the fact that we also still have this thing as well, which lines up perfectly and looks great. I am super happy with the progress we've made so far this week. Now for the rest of the update, I'm going to keep working on this side, and hopefully we'll have a pretty good structure completed by the end of this update. Alright, it has been quite a while since I did a little progress update for you guys. So we made some great progress, as you guys can see. We got both the towers built up a bit. We started to prototype the bridge, but I think it's a bit too big, so that will be continued next week. But we got a huge parts order in, and I decided to towel off the interior, and I'm just loving how this looks so far. We had to do a bunch of stuff on the interior, but I love toweling, guys. It makes everything look so nice and beautiful, and I love it. So That made me super happy. I also started doing some details on this piece right here. You can see that I put these little mailboxes inverted and then some of these. There's gonna be a lot of details on here. Trust me, like telephones, etc. Like for greebling pieces and stuff. But I don't have those pieces on hand and I didn't get around to doing it this week. But we also have been beginning to work on that as well. Another thing I'm very proud to say we finally did was tile off this section with the remaining tile we had left. Thank goodness I got this done at last. I was just about to run out of tile, and I was able to tile off this side of the hanger as well. So now we have both sides tiled off, and it looks great. And then the final thing, which we did on a live stream a few nights ago, we're doing these Republic emblems. I think they look pretty good, not gonna lie. I really do enjoy them, and I'm going to be probably using these in the final design. Way better than the original design that I had for this, which was way too big. I can't wait to install these next week, hopefully, but we'll see if we get to that. I was planning on doing it this week, but I got a mild concussion from falling down, so I wasn't able to install them, unfortunately. But overall, I'm super happy for all the progress we made this week. I feel like we got more done on the Venator update this week than usual. We made Republic logos. We built this thing a whole bunch more. I just am super happy with all the progress we've made this week. Let's head to the outro. After this week, next week is going to be 5 weeks left until we have to have this thing complete, which is super stressful, guys, because we have so much left to do. We got to install gun turrets. We got to install the hangar doors. We got to install the top bridges. There are just so many things to get done. And the engines. Oh my goodness. There's just so much to get done. So make sure to smash that like and subscribe button down below. It will really help to motivate me to try to get this thing done. I am working so hard every day, every night, putting so many hours into this, and hopefully it'll be complete on time, but I'm just not 100% sure because this is such a complex project. It's the Venator. It's not a simple terrain MOC where, you know, it's a lot easier to design. This is a Venator with so many complex angles and new techniques I had to find out, especially on one of my first LEGO Star Wars MOCs. It's difficult, but I'll see you all in the next one for the next week. We only have 5 weeks left, and that's going to wrap it up for this week on the Venator update.